Hey, boxing fans, what do you say? What do you know? What are you doing? Old school saying here with another episode of who's going to win the big fight? So, we're going to talk today a little bit about this Canelo fight with Kalen Plant. This ain't going to be a long one, not long analysis because I see this as a pretty simple, straightforward fight. You got a guy like Canelo who's at the top of his game. Tremendous punching power, tremendous counterpuncher. A guy who can take an unbelievable shot, which is one of his really more formidable qualities. The fact that the guy can take such a shot. I mean, if you go back to the two fights he had with Triple G, he got hit with everything but the kitchen sink. And if he took one step back, I think it would have been a lot. The guy just has a tremendous chin. Combined with all of his other abilities, he's a really really difficult guy to beat. You got to be able to either back him up, get his respect, or you got to be one of those long, nimble guys who can get up on your toes and outbox him for the 12 rounds. But in doing that, because he's such a good inside fighter and he's good in pursuit and cutting off the ring, you still got to be able to get his respect. So it's not like just a guy who's got length, pure boxer who's going to be able to beat him. It's got to be somebody who's got some pop on that jab, who can keep him away and keep the distance for the 12 rounds. And Kalen Plant is neither one of those fighters. He's not a guy who's going to be able to get his respect and beat Canelo at his own game because he just doesn't have the punching power. I mean, let's be honest. I looked at his last three fights, looked at some of his clips. The guy has those quick twitch muscles. He's got, he throws off some impressive combinations, alternating between the head and the body with some nice speed, a little bit of pop on his punches. But the guy does not have power. I mean, I watch him hit guys, and you look at him hitting him flush on the chin with combinations, and they're not going anywhere. And these are not Canelo type fighters. So he ain't backing up Canelo. He ain't beating Canelo at his own game. Unfortunately for Plant, though, that's the way he fights. You watch his fights. He's not a guy who uses his speed and his athleticism to out angle you, to change angles, get up on your toes once in a while, and outbox his opponent. He's got that fighter's mentality, so he likes to fight from inside the pocket. He likes to fight inside the pocket and beat you at your own game because he feels that he's got more speed than you. He's going to be able to beat you that way. You're fighting against a guy Canelo. You got to have more tools in that toolbox if you want to be able to beat him. So he's not going to beat Canelo fighting the way that he always fights. It's just not going to happen. Now the other scenario, like I said, you got to me, the two ways of beating, Canelo. That first one that we mentioned, being able to outduel him at his own game. But you got to be able to do everything Canelo can do, but better. Okay, in order to do that, and this is not the guy to do that. Getting up on his toes and boxing for 12 rounds, I don't see Plant doing that because that's not in his DNA. Not only is it in his DNA, it's not in his skill set. You see a guy with impressive hands who fights from within the pocket. He's used to sitting down on his punches. He's used to firing off from certain angles, with certain in certain positions in his body. Getting up on your toes and moving side to side and being able to deliver those combinations that you were able to deliver when you were in the pocket, it's a completely different game. It's a completely different skill set. So I don't see him being able to do that. So this fight is going to go one of two ways. Either Plant's going to come in there thinking that he can outspeed Canelo in the pocket and beat him the way he's beaten the other fighters, in which case he's going to get demolished. It's going to be a relatively quick fight. I say 3, 4, 5 rounds, depending on what kind of chin Plant has and what kind of punishment he's able to take. But he's just not going to be able to back Canelo up. It just ain't going to happen. Even if he's able to outspeed him, when they're in closer range, that's not going to do it because Canelo is going to simply walk right through him and beat the hell out of his body. Okay, I mean. So to me, that's suicide. The other option, getting up and moving and trying to box for 12 rounds, and I think, that would depend on a little bit on the size of the ring. it'd be interesting to see whether there's a larger ring that they're going to be fighting in. The larger ring will definitely work to his advantage if he chooses to fight that way. I think it's his only choice, and I think that's also, it's suicidal, but to a lesser degree, because he just does not have. He doesn't have that kind of jab. You still, even when you're boxing, even when you're up on your toes and you're boxing like that, you still got to be able to get the respect of a guy like Canelo. You got to have that really, really stiff jab that you can keep, what you can keep him at bay with, and this kid just does not have it. So, if he decides to fight that way, you're looking at a fight that's going to last a little bit longer. It's going to be a boring fight. It will not be an interesting fight because he's basically going to be running from Canelo, looking to hit, looking to get in shots when he can. But even then, Canelo is going to walk right through him. Canelo knows how to cut. Canelo is a good athlete, knows how to cut off the ring, and will eventually catch up with him. In that case, you're looking at a fight that's going to last anywhere from 7 to 10 rounds with either a stoppage or a flat-out TKO. That's the way I see the fight. I don't think Plant has much a chance at all here. But anyway, I'm going to watch the fight anyway. It's still be an interesting fight, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's my take on the fight. You disagree, agree, whatever. I'd love to hear what kind of comments you have. Please leave them there. I'll guarantee you I will write something back to you. But other than that, this is just fighting. This is just a fighting game. It's a bigger game of life. Remember what I always said, when you get knocked down, like I have on many occasions, you got to be able to get back up and continue doing what you're doing. Like my dad used to say, hey, Joe, you got to keep throwing punches no matter what. No matter what happens, you got to get up and you got to keep throwing punches. You got to keep moving. My dad was a tough guy, born, bred in Brooklyn just like I was, only he was from the old school. And he knew what the heck he was talking about. Very, very wise guy. So, I encourage you to do the best you can in life. I hope everything is really good with you and your family. I wish you peace and good health to you and your loved ones. Take care. Until the next fight. Old School Saint here signing out, baby. Peace out.